Hello, guys, and welcome to another episode of the Untold Athlete podcast. Today's guest is an extraordinary athlete whose story speaks to both perseverance and peak performance. From playing football in his youth to sprinting on the world stage, his path has been marked by significant achievements and inspiring milestones. Beyond the records, he's a European champion, a world relay champion, and has represented Great Britain in London, Rio, and Tokyo, carrying the hopes of the nation each time in one of the marquee events of the Olympic Games. So sit back and enjoy the Untold Athlete with Adam Gemili. Hello guys, today we have the privilege of speaking with a record-breaking athlete. He's the first British person in history to achieve the feat of running both a sub 10 second 100 metre and a sub 20 second 200 metre. He's a 200 metre European champion, a relay world champion and a three-time Olympian who's still pushing himself 12 years after his Olympic debut in London. It's a pleasure to welcome the one and only Mr. Adam Gemili. Adam, how you going, mate?
Yeah, good. You nailed that, man.
Yeah.
Absolutely smashed it.
First take?
Yeah, first take, honestly. Doing good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, good, man. I'm looking forward to talking athletics.
Me too.
Are you a big athletic fan?
I am. I'm a neek. Honestly, I'm a nerd in what I do. Football, athletic, anything I'm a fan of, like I learn to the max. So I can talk athletics all day with you.
We're going to go into some detail
Yeah,
today.
for sure.
I like to start off with some this or that questions, just to get to know you a little bit better.
Perfect.
So, training indoors or training outdoors?
It depends on the weather, but outdoors. I have to say outdoors. I love being outdoors.
Yeah.
But if it's freezing cold, you want to be indoors, but preferably always outdoors.
Yeah. Okay. Cinema trip or stream a movie at home?
Now that I'm a bit older, home. But I used as a kid, I used to love going to the cinema, popcorn. But now you go there, you have to take out a mortgage just to watch a film.
Yeah.
It's like 30 quid. It's like to go and watch a film and get some snacks. But streaming now. For sure.
Yeah, I mean 10,000 titles on Netflix for £10.99 a month.
Exactly.
That would just about buy you one cinema ticket.
Yeah, exactly.
I reckon this is a difficult one. 100 metre or 200 metre?
I'm going to say 200. I think I've had a little bit more success in the event. I enjoy the event a little bit more. There's a little bit more room for, I don't want to say error, but like it's a little bit more time that you can be on the track and actually show what you can do. And I really like that.
Yeah. Hardest one of the list by far. Ice cream or cake?
I'm going to say ice cream. I do love cake. I'm a fat. I'm born to be fat. Honestly, the moment I stop training, I just look at food and I put on weight. But ice cream tops it for me. I think ice cream's
You'll be happy to know that's the right answer.
Perfect.
That is the
Is that
correct
for you as
answer.
well?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah, easy.
Good.
Training with music or no music?
Again, that's a tough one. I'm going to say no music. Yeah, because I think when you really need to lock in and really need to focus, like if you're just doing a casual session, music is fine and stuff. But when you're really doing like your top elite sessions that you really need to nail, you want under race conditions. And when you're racing, you don't have any music. So you try and simulate that. So for me, probably no music.
Is when you're training like that, is the internal dialogue loud? Are you really on your points that you're trying to hit at each part?
Yeah,
of
so I've got,
run?
it's a bit like, it's a bit like being on autopilot, actually. You try and get in the zone. So you really try and, that's why we train every day. So it becomes natural. And people are like, what does that feel like? What does that feel like? And the best way I can describe it is like when you drive and you've been driving for like, I don't know, 20, 30 minutes. And then you might not even remember really driving at all.
Yeah.
Your body's just doing it because it's on autopilot because you've done it so often. That's why you train so often to get to that feeling when you run. You're not really thinking about it. You're just doing it. You just focus on your cue. So for me, whatever the cue might be in an acceleration, like my first cue might be punch my left thigh forward, and that's all I'm thinking about in my head. And then once I punch that left thigh forward, autopilot should take hold, and then the rest just happens. But if you're sprinting and you're actually able to think, you're going to be running slow for sure.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Fair.
You want to be sort of not blacked out, but you do want that sort of feeling of just like autopilot.
I know where I am.
Yeah, exactly.
Board game or video game?
Video game for sure. I'm
Easy
a big gamer.
one.
Yeah, I love board games. Catan. I play a lot of Catan. I play a lot of different games. But no, I'm a PlayStation man or computer man. I play a lot of Call of Duty or Valorant with my boys. I'm still 31 years old and I love it. It's such a good release. It's such a
Switch off.
Yeah, it's good to switch off. Honestly, it's a nice way to and it's always nice to like slide cancel or absolutely destroy some young 15, 16 year olds online and and feel like, I've still got it. Not so old anymore.
Winning as an individual or as part of a team?
No, individual for sure.
Yeah,
it's an individual sport. What athletics is. I've grown up playing football and I've always been in that team environment. But when you win something individually, obviously there's so many people that put so much hard work into you, but it's the relay. Like I've been a relay world champion. I've been a European individual champion as well. And winning something individually, it has the same feeling, but it just, for me, it is more important. It is more important. Yeah. I think people always do that question in athletics. Would you take a bronze medal individually, or would you take a gold medal as part of a team? And it's like, it's a really weird one that people don't really know.
Yeah.
So it's interesting.
The reason I asked is because when you guys won that world title, the atmosphere on the track after looked just incredible. To be there with people and going through like something like that as a team, it really bonds you.
Honestly, it's one of the most life-changing moments that I've had was when we won the World Championships. And probably, to be honest with you, there was only probably like 4 or 5 of us that were in the team that we were the only ones that really believed that we were going to do it. It was the Jamaicans and the Americans. There was Bolt, there was Coleman and Gatlin in the Americans. Like,
it was huge.
It was stacked. It was absolutely stacked. And to do it in London, I remember sitting on the bus with the boys, and we literally were like, not in our house. We're not letting these guys come to our house in London and do this to us. And we were so confident. And to win as that part of that team, it was the last event. It was like 10 o'clock at night. Everyone in the stadium stayed for us for our lap. And it was just, if I could go back and live certain points in my life, that would be one of the My whole family was in the stadium. I got to celebrate. I went back to the hotel with the team and we sat in the lobby and we went, what?
Yeah.
What just happened?
Yeah, it was crazy.
What just happened? So it was a special evening. We can go into that in more detail later on. But it was
all good.
It was cool, man.
Okay. At the risk of offending some maybe family members here, home cooked meal or takeaway?
No, home cooked meal.
Yeah.
Sure. To be honest, I'm probably the cook in the family. I'm the one that does a lot of the cooking. If you ask like my family and my friends, I think if I wasn't in sport, I would have gone into like culinary school and stuff, and then gone into that type of thing. I love cooking. I love trying
too.
things.
I was exactly the same. Yeah.
So home cooked for sure. It's always better.
I wanted to go and do it at college.
Did you?
And my dad went, "You're not doing that." And at the time I was like, "What?" And now I just think about working every evening all night, and I think, thank God
honestly,
he told me not to do it.
Yeah, it's absolutely brutal.
Yeah. Last one. So I'm a bit of a nerd as well. I think spikes are really cool.
Yeah.
Spikes are just a cool thing to wear. Are you like classic muted colours, blacks, or are you flashy?
No. I have years when I've been sponsored by like a Nike or something. I remember years ago, they released the Mercurial football boots, the bright orange ones, and they made me a pair of spikes, but they were like the football boots, but with spikes in the bottom.
Oh yeah, insane.
Oh my gosh. I've still got them upstairs. They're one of my favourite pairs of spikes, but normally I'm very, very subtle with spikes and I don't want to be wearing loud, flashy colours and stuff like that. But that's from the football days. To be honest with you, when I played in the academies from when I was a bit younger, black boots only.
Oh, really?
Yeah, black boots only.
Everyone's the same. No one gets flashy.
You're not part of the first team.
Yeah.
Black boots only. You can have a little black or white. Like that's it. You don't want to see no flashy stuff, and it keeps you humble and it keeps you.
Absolutely.
It's cool. It's cool. So simple for me.
Okay, so first question for you is, can you sort of give us a run through, introduce us to Adam Gemili from where he started in sport, that journey sort of through the football and the academy and things like that, and how we transitioned into sprinting up until where you are today?
Yeah, okay. It's let's see if I can remember a long time now. So I've always been, listen, as a kid, I was always ADHD active, running around, just full of energy and stuff. And I was always quick but I never really was I didn't really like football or anything like that. My mum and dad used to roll me a football and I'd pick it up and run away with it. And they were like, he's never going to get into football. And then a friend of mine joined the local team here. I was like, I want to come along and play. I don't want to be left alone. I just picked it up so quickly and went to a couple of tournaments and got scouted by Chelsea's academy, went there for a little trial. And that was under 9s, and then I stayed there till under 16s, which was brilliant. So I was going to do my scholarship there, so my youth apprenticeship year 1 and year 2 before then you can go into a pro contract. The thing is, the way academies work now is very different to how they work back in the day. So this was sort of like right in the middle of my GCSEs and stuff, and we were expected to sort of miss 2 days of school a week. And my parents are so much about education, and they were like, "You're not missing school. What are you talking about?" I was like, but I need to we're going to Cobham, we're going to go and train. And they were like,
I play for Chelsea.
And play for Chelsea, it's my dream.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, to be fair, now I look back at it, it's one of the best decisions. My parents were like, no, you're not doing that, and pulled me out of that, which was heartbreaking at the time. I was devastated, absolutely devastated to leave Chelsea. I'd grown up at the club, beautiful people in that there. It felt like a real family. And then I signed for Reading FC, played at Reading for a year and a half, which was great. And then again, it was quite far away. I remember speaking to the guy who was the academy manager. He passed away, Eamon. He was a really good guy, actually. And he was just like, we've got 30 scholars that we're going to give. So first year scholars, second year, and we've got third year scholars. So he was like, it's going to be very difficult for the first year scholars to play for the youth team. So you're going to be just sitting on the bench. And I was like, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
And my mum was like, yeah, let's go. So we were like, nah, I want you to go to college. I want you to get more education and potentially go to university. So then I walked away from Reading, which was again hard, and then I signed for Dagenham and Redbridge, who were League One at the time. Again, fantastic club. I really, really loved it. Nothing like Chelsea or anything like that, but really good community, really good people there. And I'd sort of been dabbling in athletics a little bit in school and really sort of enjoying my college and stuff. And then it got to the sort of like January time of 2012, and Dagenham offered me a pro contract. And they did say, so like I said, I dabbled in athletics in school, and I'd always been really fast, a lot faster than most people. And I'd the year before, 2011, I'd competed at the European Junior Championships. I didn't do any training. I literally just used to go to some races, run, and then go back to football training the next day. And it was so easy when you're young to just be fast and beat people. And then Dagenham was sort of like really good at the time. They gave me a week off to go to the European Junior Championships. And then in January of 2012, they were like, right, we want you to sign pro, but no more athletics. There's going to be no opportunities for university. And I was happy with it. But at the time, it wasn't like life-changing money. It wasn't a lot of money. It was, and I had started to have a little bit more success in athletics. And we made the decision, my mum and dad and me, we sat down with my sister as well, and we were like, why don't you try athletics for the year? You really enjoy it. It might give you the chance to go to university as well. And if you don't like it, we'll go back to football and we can look for another club. And honestly, that was January. I said to Dagenham, I'm really thankful, but I'm actually going to go into athletics full time. They were like, best of luck. Like we really support you and good luck. And next thing I know, like 5 or 6 months later, it's 2012 Olympics. And I'm like, what am I doing here? Honestly, it was the most imposter syndrome I've ever had in my life. And it's not now until I look back and I think, how did that happen? Like, I trained for 5 months and it was easy. Yeah. It's like, this is easy. And obviously now when you get a bit older, you realize it doesn't work like that. It is a lot of it is hard work, but it was literally just make that decision, started training, just picked it up so quickly, got really lucky. It was a home Olympics. The standard of sprinting at that time in the UK wasn't like where it is now. It sort of ebbs and flows throughout the years. And at the time, I think I ran 10:08 and that was number one in the UK. And like 10:18 was like second in the UK. So nowadays, if you're not even close to sub 10 or sub 10, you're not even getting anywhere near the top of the list. So, and yeah, like made the Olympic Games. And once you go to home Olympics, you're sort of like, right, well, this is me now. I'm in athletics.
I need that again.
Yeah, that's it. And just been in it since, and still play football. I still watch it. It's still, I'd say it's my number one passion. It's my first love, and I love it. And especially now Liverpool are doing a lot better than they were when I was a bit younger. Yeah. So it's good to see. But yeah, then now I'm in track and field, and every year going on has just been better and better.
And that performance in London, better than expected?
So much better. So if someone had said to me, you can make a semi-final of an Olympic 100 metres, I'd have been like, yeah, absolutely. But I remember the semi-final of the 100 metres, I was third place behind Johan Blake and Tyson Gay. And these are the joint second fastest men in history. And I knew it was only top two to qualify for the final. And I was 10:06, and I think 10:03 or 10:02 made the final. So I think I was like one place out of like making it. And I remember going back and I was so devastated. And then I was like, my coach was like, hold on a second. You're getting a bit greedy here. Like, relax. Like,
in January, you were playing for Dagenham and Redbridge.
Exactly. Like, relax. You were, exactly. So let's get a reality check. And the goal for me that year anyway was to go to the World Juniors and win that, which for me, that was the goal that I did. And I achieved that. And everything else was extra. But yeah, London was, to this day, the best feeling I've had walking onto an athletics track, because I'd never had that in my life before, where people had recognise me and even know my name. And I walked out in the heats, and Asafa Powell was in front of me, and everyone was like screaming, Adam, like over the edge of the stadium. And he was like looking around, and he was like laughing. He turned around, he said, wow. He said, this is for you. And I was like, this is Asafa Powell speaking to me.
Yeah.
This is so crazy.
A world record holder.
And I was like, right, locking. We're about to run. And people like screaming for me, like when my picture came on the screen, I just couldn't help but like smile and like take it in. And for me, I'm glad I did that. A lot of people try and like hide themselves, and they don't really let things in because you become vulnerable when you like open yourself up a little bit. But I've always been okay with that. And yeah, it was insane. That Olympic Games was one of the best experiences of my life. But yeah, I remember walking away from it thinking, I could have maybe made that final. Could have maybe made it. But
that's the mindset that a lot of athletes have. As soon as you get something you've been trying for so long, as soon as you've got it, right, well, that wasn't quick enough. I need to go quicker next time.
Exactly.
It's just...
We're so brutal. We're so athletes. I wish people could realise we're so critical of ourselves. And it's always like a lot of athletes, the problem is they never really get to enjoy when they have success as well. It's always, what next? Oh, now what's this? Oh, what could I have done better? And actually, sometimes you just need to take a step back and think, nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
I think it happens so rarely, and it's so surprising when you hear some really, really successful athletes. I think Victoria Pendleton has spoken about this quite a bit, in the sense of, this is what I wanted to achieve. I achieved it, and I'm paraphrasing here, and then I felt empty. I felt like I hadn't done all these things.
Yeah.
And so I've done a lot of coaching, and with especially more senior athletes, I've always said to them, enjoy what you're doing, because I promise you, what you think you'll enjoy when you achieve it, by the standards of a lot of people who have been there, it doesn't happen. So if you're not enjoying now and you don't enjoy then, what have you signed up to?
Yeah, exactly. That's some really good advice, man. It's true.
And it's difficult to do. It's so difficult to do when you're in it and you're like, oh, I should be enjoying this, but it seems like it's so important for the journey.
Yeah, exactly. Athletes are interesting specimens, honestly.
Yeah.
We're interested, but we are the way we are because, and that's what makes us successful. And that's what makes us the way we are, because it's a different mindset. It's a different mentality of never quite being sat, what next, but actually enjoy, take that moment in and enjoy it. And realize what you're doing your sport for, what your purpose is, and always remind yourself of the values that you've got and why you're doing what you do. So for me, I do that every time. I'm 31 years old now. A lot of people are like, stop running, you're not fast. I just enjoy it. I love it. I'm going to train. I'm going to do my thing, keep in shape, try and post a little bit more on social media, try and help any young athletes that want any advice or questions, and then move on with my life and see you later. Thanks for coming.
Yeah.
And help grow the sport. So I love what I do. I'm so lucky to do what I do, and I'm under no illusion how blessed I am to really be in the position I am. So I'm super lucky. Yeah,
incredibly fortunate, and a very cool job to do. I just want to touch on something that came up a little bit earlier in the this or that questions. The 4x100 meter world final in 2017 that you guys won. What was that feeling like? And am I right in saying that's the first time that Great Britain have ever won that title at that championships?
First time we've won the world champs. It was special. It was a special feeling. Incredible. It was a special feeling.
Obviously, this is a horrible part of the race, but the fact that it was Bolt's last race, he pulled up with a hamstring, like it was just, the whole thing was just crazy.
I had no idea. To be honest with you, I wasn't even looking at Usain. When we passed the baton, I was watching Neff Neal coming down the home straight, and I saw, because I passed the baton and I turned around, I was watching the screen with the people on the back straights. We turned around, we were watching the screen. I saw Neff Neal, and the angle on the TV almost looked like Coleman, the American, was going to go past him. And I didn't even realise what happened to Usain until later on in the evening. So Usain got hurt. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
And I saw it and I was like, oh my God. So I didn't even realise what happened. But I like to think maybe, even if he maybe didn't get injured, it would have been a tough job for him to catch us. But
I think so,
you never know. Usain is Usain. Yeah. So he's the GOAT. He's the GOAT. He's got the clutch factor. So I don't know.
I think I agree with you though. Yeah, I think it would have been tough. You'd already done enough. You'd already put yourself in such a position.
We said to Neff, you're going to get the baton in the lead or level in the lead, and you do your thing. And him and Coleman and Neff they'd been in the NCAA system together that year, so they'd had a lot of battles on anchor. Neff was like, "Nah, I got him." He was so confident. Yeah, I was like, "Really? He just got silver medal in the 100." He said, "Yeah, it's different." He said, "Relay's different." I was like, "Yeah, come on,
I love
Neff."
That, yeah.
Confident. We were so confident, honestly.
It's so important.
As soon as CJ was like, "I'm going to get out, give you the baton," and I was like, "Just give me the baton. I'm going to absolutely just chew up everyone outside."
Your leg was a joke.
Yeah, I was just trying to think. I was just destroy the Chinese guy outside of me. I got past him. I gave the baton to Danny, and I was screaming. I was like, "Go, go, go, go!" And actually, if you ever go back and see that video, when I went go like that, my elbow hits the Chinese guy in the face. Yeah, it was actually a bit. Not a lot of people know that. It was actually quite messy afterwards. Like it kicked off a little bit afterwards.
Really?
But yeah, but it was accidental, and it wasn't
completely.
like I was in my lane and he was. Yeah, well, let's not go into that. Let's not go into that.
Accidental scraps on the track.
Yeah, no, but we to be, yeah, we trained together a couple of years later and we were all good. So it was, it was cool.
Does it ever get eggy on the track? Does it get a bit shoulders out?
I've seen, there's definitely been some situations where maybe not on the track, but I've seen stuff in the cool room. I've seen stuff on the warm-up track, and I've seen stuff just after when you collect your kit, like people I don't want to say scrapping, but yeah, basically
Posturing.
Yeah, posturing and sprinting. It's an ego thing, and you're looking for any 1 or 2% to give yourself an advantage.
Yeah,
you're lining up on 100 meters at a race, and everyone you're lining up against is good. Everyone is talented, so people look for those little things that they will give them an edge. I've never really been like that. I just keep myself to myself, and I've got my own lane and I run. But no, I've seen it a lot. I remember in 2013, who was it? It was Nestor Carter, who was a Jamaican sprinter. So we were on first leg in the relay, and we were walking out to the starting blocks, and he was just yapping in my ear, just being not nothing malicious or bad, but just yapping. He's like, GB, you lot so bad with the relay, you lot never get it round. All we have to do is give it to Usain. We just got to get it to Usain in the job. And he was just in my ear the whole time, and I was like, oh my god, I was only like 19 at the time, and I was like, wow, this is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So, but it's fun. It's all good. It's all good fun. It's very, the one thing I like about athletics, like when it's race day and we're lining up, it's every man for himself. Everyone's an enemy. We're trying to beat everyone. But actually, away from that, every single person trains so hard in athletics to be at that level. We know what it takes. So there's a level of respect and understanding. And like I said, you travel to meet with the same sort of people that you get to know, and they become your friends. So yeah, I like that type of thing. So
do I. I think there's definitely, I think there's room for it in sport. I think it just brings personalities out, and it brings another dimension of competition out, because it's not just can you run fast in this arena on this day with the morning you've had, and it's all part of the game.
100%. But again, like it said, there's a level to it, because they can go too far. Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah,
they definitely can go too far. So there's a fine balance.
So yeah, an incredible night, that relay for you on the track. It's quite astounding becoming a world champion, especially in something like sprinting, something like athletics that is so pure and so accessible. To know how many people are trying to run that quickly in the world, and to take a world title is really, really special.
People sometimes take it for granted when they see people performing, and you're not just trying to be the best on your road. You're not just trying to be the best in your town. You're not just trying to be the best in your county. You're not just trying to be the best in the country. You're trying to be the best in the world. There's 7 billion people in the world. You're trying to beat everyone, because the thing is with track and field, it's sport in its most basic format. It's who's the fastest, who can throw the furthest. There's no special skills. It's sport in its purest form, and that's why you compete against everyone, and there's something for everyone. There's no special equipment you need. There's no, unless you're like javelin or disc, like whatever. But it's so simple, and that's why it's so difficult. And to do it for, like, they always say sprinters, especially if you're lucky if you get one Olympic cycle. And for me, I feel like I was 18 when I first came into it. I'm 31 now. I'm still competing and still able to compete at the top level. It's hard to do, man. It's hard on your body. It's hard on your mind. And like I said, I just try and enjoy it now as much as I can. And I don't really care what other people say about me, as long as my family, my friends, my unit around me all believe in me. They'll always keep me honest. And if they always keep me humble as well, and they'll be like, maybe it's time or this or that. And that's what you need. That's exactly what you need. So,
and enjoying what you're doing.
Enjoying it. I love it. I'm moved back to the UK now. I haven't been home living in the UK since 2016. So it feels so good to be here. Honestly, see my family. I was at a country walk this morning, and then I'll go coaching in the evening, and it's just home. It's just a feeling that I love.
So with regards to what you're getting up to now when you're training, do you have goals? I mean, I know some of you might want to share, might not want to share. What are you looking to do?
I want to get to next season in a position where I feel like I'm able to compete and compete properly and fast and be healthy. And that's it. And just go out there and run. Obviously, the aim is to always try and make the world championships. But my goals have definitely changed as I've got older. And that is something I wasn't really ready for. I've always been, as a young athlete, under the assumption I want to be the fastest man in the world. And that was always my belief and my goal and my dream. And I work every year and I believe I can do it. And now, if it didn't happen, like, especially when in the younger years, I was always devastated. When I lose a race, I'm gutted. And actually, you have to learn to lose. And you lose a lot more than you win in track and field. And as I've got a bit older, my goals are slightly different. My goal was always to be the fastest man in the world. It's not so much the priority for me anymore. I would love to be able to do that. It's always been a dream. But now my goals are different. My goal is to now inspire the next generation and teach people, especially teach these young athletes, everything that I know. I feel like I've got so much experience and knowledge in this sport that I want to share and help. And I have so many good ideas that I think we can really take athletics to the next level. But yeah, that is more so now where my head is at in terms of goals. Like, I still would love to compete and be one of the fastest men in the world. And you can't do this job if you don't believe you can do that. If I didn't believe it, I wouldn't be doing all this training. I promise you, I wouldn't be here just training. But if it doesn't happen, I'm not going to be devastated, because reality check, I've been doing this a long time. I think maybe haven't achieved everything that I maybe thought I would, but I've given it my best shot, and that's all you can do.
And achieved a great deal on the way.
I've tried to achieve as much as I could achieve, but it's, you always want more. Like you said, you always want more.
I think probably if you asked every elite athlete in the world, either in their career or at the end of their career, are you happy? I don't think any of them would say,
Do you know what it is?
Everyone's always looking.
After, like, and you'll know it's when you used to compete as well, like, you're always so self-critical. You could run a PB, a perfect race, and you'll be like, but I could have done that better. I could have. Yep. There's never a time you go, yeah, cool, that was nailed it, 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
I've never seen an athlete say that ever, where they say, yeah, I ran the perfect race or did the perfect routine. It's always something, always more.
Yeah,
and that's the athlete mindset.
Never walked away from a competition and went 100% happy with that. Yeah, I'm done. I'm done now. I can just get back to training and don't need to work. Yeah, everything is always just, I could have been higher. I could have been this. I could have been that. So we know a lot more about you now and your beginnings and how you got to where you are today. What we want to know is, what is the biggest struggle that you've faced in your athletic career?
I'd say the biggest struggle is sort of dealing with injury is probably one of the hardest and toughest things for athletes. And it's a part of sport. And if you're an athlete and you can go through your career and never have an injury, then you need to write a book and you'll make billions, because that is, it's part of the job. And dealing with that is so hard, and you have to mentally really prepare yourself from being, so for example, my first major sort of public injury, I'd say, was 2015, and I just broken sub 10, first time, 100th man in history to do it, and then I tore my hamstring, grade 3, and that was my season over. And I'd literally just gone from the highest of highs to now you're not going to be doing anything for the next 3 or 4 months. And it's such a mentally challenging thing to come to terms with, where you're active every day, then all of a sudden you can't even put your socks on. I couldn't even bend down to put my sock on, and that is really, really hard to deal with. And the biggest thing is surrounding yourself with good people, and actually getting a bit of a reality check. There was a hurdler called David Oliver, and I remember speaking to him about, he had injuries, and he's an American, and their mentality is just different. And he was like, "Well, you expecting some sort of pity party?" And he said that to me straight up like that, and I was like, well, it took me back a little bit. And then when I thought about it, I was like, do you know what? You're right. I need to just make my peace with it. Like, let everything crumble down and be upset and feel sorry for myself. And then once that's done, like, give that a night or two and then park it. What am I going to do to get back to my best? And when you see all your teammates around you running really well and running fast, and you're just there stuck doing the same exercises every single day. You're in early, you stay late, you do. It's mentally challenging, and you're sort of like, oh, is this really what I want to be doing? And injuries are a massive part, and something I've really, really struggled with in my career. It's something I've really had to manage. Another big injury I had was, I went to the Olympics in Tokyo in 2021, and I was in the shape I was in such good form. We had the best sprint group in the world at that point, I believe. And Andre de Grasse, who won the 200 meters, we were training together the whole year, and we're running with each other, beating, like, so competitive. And he went and won the Olympics. And I tore my hamstring on the last rep of my warm-up before I was about to go into the call room and run the heats.
It's like it was written. It's like someone wrote that for a movie.
when I look back at that there's times when I think, how did I get through that and I'm still here? I've never felt more broken in my life.
Yeah.
Mentally, physically. I remember and it was COVID, so we couldn't even go anywhere in Japan. So it's not like I could go for a walk in Tokyo and just like clear my head. I'm stuck in the village and everyone's coming up to me and it's not the nice thing. Oh, you're okay. And I just want to be left alone.
Yeah.
And I just want to tell everyone, can you just whatever.
Yeah.
But you've got to be polite and respectful. And that was tough. That was really tough. It was like the 5 years of work I've just done, because obviously we'd missed a year from COVID, gone in a single moment. And I was devastated. I wanted to stop. I felt so sick. And then I had some issues where I was training in America, and then there was some stuff going on with my coach at the time, and I just was like, what am I doing? I just turn up to the track every day, and I want to run. I want to be the best athlete I can. And when you start getting brought into all this other stuff, and it gets made political, and you just stop enjoying it. The day I stop enjoying the sport is the day I will stop competing and stop running. And right now, I still love it. I absolutely love it, so I'm going to keep doing it. And that was the same with football. I wasn't enjoying it as much as I was at the time. And I moved to track and field. And my parents said that if you're not enjoying what you do, life is short. You have to enjoy what you do. And that's something I've always that sort of stuck with me.
Yeah, that interview you gave in Tokyo, that was a really hard watch, because you're a very popular athlete in Britain. I think because of the way that you hold yourself and conduct yourself, and you just seem to love what you do. You make watching sport fun. You're one of those athletes. And I think that was so difficult to watch you in that state. And I think a lot of people will have felt that, because it was so raw, it was so real, it was so genuine. And it's just unfair.
I just couldn't believe it. I'd done that. I've sprinted every day for the last 5 years. And literally, I've done a block start out from blocks to 30 meters hundreds of times, maybe even thousands of times. And in that one moment, and the hardest thing was, I was so lonely. I was just so alone, because you're at an Olympic Games and you don't want to be depressing, because you're around the best sports people in the world, and you don't want that energy to rub off on other people, because they're all still trying to achieve their goals, and you have to realize, can't be selfish and everyone help me. And my family wasn't there. Like I said, it was a really brutal, dark time in my sort of mental side of things, and it took me a very long time to get over that. A very, very long time. I was telling people, I'm fine, it's fine. I wasn't fine. In my head, I was still really, really dealing with it, and I just couldn't believe that was my opportunity. That I'd never felt so confident going into a competition that I was going to go, maybe not win, but I could. I definitely felt like I could go and challenge. And people might say, "That's crazy! Look how fast they run."
You're training with them.
My best times have always come at competitions, and people have always said it's better to be a championship performer, and that's something I've always gone through my career doing. Doesn't matter if I get beaten on the Diamond League circuit or at British Champs or this. When it comes to the champs, I'll be at my best. And I'd done runs with Andre. I'd done runs with Trayvon Bromell, who should have won the 100 meters in Tokyo again. He was in. I've never seen anyone look that fast ever in training. And I've seen Usain run. I've seen Tyson Gay run. I've seen Asafa Johan. Trayvon Bromell that year was on fire. And I was, like I said, I was competitive with him and Andre. And to see them go on, and I was so happy for them. But I was also, there was part of me that was just like, I could have been in that mix. I could have been in amongst the mix, and that was my opportunity. That was my best opportunity. I missed out in Rio. I was fourth in the 200 meters by 0.003 of a second.
Yeah,
it takes longer to blink. That's what I try and tell people. It was nothing.
Yeah, and
then I was like, I looked up at the scoreboard. And I was like, right, I'm not going to get another chance for another 4 years. That 4 years came and it went, and they were I would say 2 Olympics where I was really in the best form I've ever been in. And yeah, it's
so difficult because you took that experience from Rio, seeing how close you were, and went, right, this next 4 years
I'm going to smash it.
And you did do that. And you like you're saying, you were in training with these guys and you were doing similar times, the same times, faster times. Sprinting is such a pure sport. You're either fast or you're not. The clock either says 9.7 or it doesn't.
There's no opinions. It's the clock is the clock.
Yeah.
There's no, oh, he likes you, so let's put him in. No,
Yeah.
it's how fast you are. That's why it's the best. And yeah, it's brutal.
So when you step into Tokyo and you're saying, I felt like I could go and at least challenge, you know that you're good enough to win.
2 years ago, I finished fourth in the 200 at the Worlds. I was leading the 200 meters to about 140, 150, and then I ran a really stupid race, to be honest with you. And then I went from first to fourth in like the span of like 40 meters, and I was like, oh. But it gave me honestly at that competition, I was like, I can do this.
I can run fast.
I was Noah Lyles was in that race, like Andre was in that race, and there was Alex Canoas, who unfortunately he was he passed away now, rest in peace. But he was a really fast guy as well in that race, and I was there and I was beating all of them. I was in the mix and I was like, I know I can do this. Even though I was devastated, I was so gutted. I was like, I know I can do this, and I trained so well. COVID obviously hit. I trained really well through COVID, and then came out of that and I was like, I feel good. And then yeah, that was sort of the catalyst for me of just an avalanche of crap that just came my way since the Tokyo Olympics, which was just one thing after another, and you try and stay positive and happy, and it's just you just get chipped away, and it's hard to keep that facade. And I'm a really happy, positive person, but I'm also a very honest person. If I'm really upset or really angry or upset, I'll say it, and you'll know. But it's very unlikely that I'll be like that a lot of the time. So it was a really dark period for me, and my personality definitely changed, and I definitely started getting anxiety. I never had a panic attack in my life. Never. I didn't even know what was going on. Getting a bit deep now. Sorry.
No.
I remember lying in bed in Florida. It was like 3 a.m, and all of a sudden I felt like I was sinking into the bed. I didn't know what to do. My heart rate started going crazy. I remember ringing my mum in the middle of the night, and she answered. My mum doesn't really sleep much. She sleeps about 4 hours a night. Honestly, she's we're not good sleepers. And I remember ringing her, and I was like, "Mum, I don't know what's happening." Like, and she calmed me down. I was hyperventilating. First time I'd ever had like an anxiety panic attack, and I just when that first time happens, and I was like, I'm 27, 28 years old. This shouldn't be happening. I know who I am. I know what my values are, and you just can't control it. And it's a brutal time.
You obviously know you're in a bad place at that time. You know you're feeling very down. It's when you say things like, I noticed that my personality changed. I started having panic attack. You can't argue those things. Those aren't things that are intentional. Those are things that are just happening to you at the time. And they're scary.
Yeah.
When you talk about this sort of dark place that you're in after Tokyo with regards to the injury, how long has that lasted?
Can I be honest with you? The Tokyo stuff, that dark stuff, that probably took a couple of years to get over. And then there was some issues afterwards there was my coach in America who was at the time, there was an investigation against him, and that whole situation was an absolute shambles of what happened. And I hadn't done anything, to be honest with you. I was there. I'm just an athlete. I want to run fast, and I just got absolutely crucified, and I'd never had that in my career before. I'd had hate, and I can deal with that, but it was just being judged, and it was judgment from other athletes, which I don't care about. Most of your opinion is your opinion. Everyone's doing it, but there was other athletes who they were then saying, oh, this and that, and I'm like, but you guys know me, and that's not me. Like it's not. I don't know. It was a really upsetting time, and to be honest with you, that is something I took many years to get over. Probably only the last few years that I really sort of like don't really care anymore. Probably actually this summer in Paris, I had a good conversation with a journalist who I'd really got upset me in a lot of ways. And I understand he was doing his job, and it wasn't personal, but it was always my name in the press. It was always my picture, and people only know what they read. And everyone was saying, oh, why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? I'm like, that's not the case. But like, oh, that's what we read. And I'm like, but that's not the truth. Yeah. And I can't say what the truth is yet. So it's like, that was frustrating. That was really frustrating and really upsetting. And I think my performance definitely dipped because of that massively. I think I went to the Commonwealth Games in 2022. Mentally, I just shouldn't have even competed. I was training like twice a week because I just couldn't put sessions together because I was just mentally exhausted. Yeah. Like I just couldn't. People don't realize the physical side is you can do it and it's great, but the mental side of sport is where that's where you have to fight your demons, and that's where you can either go on and be super successful or it can stop you having a career. And I was fighting a lot of demons in those sort of years, 22, 23. I finally feel like I'm out of that sort of darkness and in a really good place, really happy place.
Good, man. It's really good to hear.
Thank you, man.
I think I've gone through my own depression and anxiety and things like that, but I was lucky enough to never go through it when I was an athlete.
Competing.
Not in a serious sense at all. And I can't imagine being an athlete and being in that position, because when you feel that way and you're in that place, the amount of mental energy that takes from you is unbelievable. So to be able to then physically try and train and compete at any sort of decent level with regards to elite performance is, I can't imagine it.
When you struggle with that stuff, I'll tell you, so for me, I always try to deal with it myself, because and that is wrong. And I was going to say, was that the same for yourself? Like, you just try and man up and deal with, you're like, oh, just get on with it. And
especially, I think, as an athlete as well, I think people are like that generally, but I think as an athlete as well, especially in an individual sport, you have to do everything for yourself all the time. No one's ever going to hold your hand and make sure you go and do S&C and things like that. So you get used to, this problem is my problem, and it's only my problem, and I'm the only one who can sort it out.
You can sort it out. It's exactly. It's such a bad mindset to have, but it's all you've known.
Yeah.
And it's not until. Did you have to deal with that stuff yourself? And you said after you, but luckily you said it wasn't during sport, but afterwards, or did you actually open up and let people in and help you and talk about it, or not really?
I sat with it by myself,
Really?
but I didn't do much dealing with it by myself, because it's very, very difficult, because you are only ever what you are, and you can't just know or start changing behaviours just suddenly, because you need to be shown and you need to be taught, and it's a completely different skill set. It takes a lot of work. It's a lot harder work. No one's going to come and fix you. But yeah, for me, yeah, you have to go and speak to someone this is their world, and they know what's going on with you much more than you do, actually.
Yeah, exactly.
And getting that help and that advice of how to do it.
And my brain works at 100 miles an hour. So I'm undiagnosed ADHD, and my mum and my sister have been saying it to me since I was like, because I'm just all over the place.
Yeah,
I'm so scatty. I'm so scatty. Honestly, my brain will be here and I'll be like, oh, over there, and I'm back. And so when you've got that type of brain, you just, things in your head and you go, and you're having a conversation. It's not until you slow down and say it out loud and you listen to what you're saying and you're like, I sound stupid. What am I saying? Like, when you actually articulate it and you're like, actually, if someone else was telling me this, I'd say this and this. Yep. And then but when, it's not until you hear it and say it out loud. So that was a little trick that I found whenever I've got a little bit of like panic or anxiety, or like, I just say what I'm thinking out loud. I'm like, what am I worried about? And then I talk about it. I'm like, actually, let's get a reality check. This, and then it really, really helps. So it's not until I started actually, like I said, speaking and hearing what I was saying that I was like, actually, this is making it a lot easier to deal with.
Yeah, I think there's such a big difference between thoughts and feelings.
Yes.
And when we keep our mouth closed and everything exists inside of us, it's all feeling.
Yes.
We just react on feeling. And when you speak it, it becomes so much easier to see the evidence of what you're saying. For even taking it to a sport example, you said at London, biggest imposter syndrome ever. You knew you'd qualified.
Yeah.
You knew you could run at a time that was going to be competitive in those races. Those are the thoughts. That's all the evidence. You are well aware of all those thoughts. The feeling, it doesn't change the feeling.
That you've literally now. So I started working with a psychologist after 2012, because I was like, I can't have this feeling again. And he's called Steve Peters. He's a genius, man. Honestly, if anyone's ever read his books, and it's the same sort of thing. It's the thoughts and the feelings, and it's his idea is obviously the chimp and the human and the computer. And like I said, it's they all work at different speeds, and it's remembering the chimp is the feeling, and the human is your values and your thoughts, and that's what you want to go back to, and the chimp is, like I said, it's pure emotion, it's pure, and it's not until you let that out and talk about it and actually address it and say, oh, like you said, what am I worried about? Oh, I have qualified, I do have the right to be here. So what am I scared? Oh, I might trip over and embarrass myself. No, what, you train every single day, you know what to do. If it happens, people are still going to be and you have to just, anything you're worried about, and then address it, and then it's done. So,
and even harder when you talk about that brain that you've got that goes 100 miles an hour all the time.
Yeah.
I'm very similar to that. Yeah. And I can go through 1,000 scenarios in a 5-minute space of what's going to happen in the next 2 hours. And the more you're able to do that, the faster your brain is going in that situation, the more feelings you are feeling. And the less you speak it, the more it's just building up inside. So it's even compounded by your brain just functioning in that way.
Exactly. Oh, that's funny. It's so funny you saying that, because literally that is, you saying that's like, yep, that's my brain.
Yeah.
Yep, that's exactly that's exactly my brain as well.
Obviously, you've gone through that tough time in Tokyo, really tough time. And then after that, having those issues with sort of the media and bad press and
depression. Yeah, it was peak. It was rough. It was a rough. It was rough. It was a rough time. But
if you could go back to that time, you can't change the injury in Tokyo. You can't change the horribleness that's going on with your coach and that situation. Would you do anything differently to what you did do? That you think maybe you'd have navigated a bit better, maybe you'd be in a bit of a better place today, although you've touched on you're in a loads better place today.
I don't have regrets. I don't like to have regrets. I think they make me who I am today. And I think I wouldn't want to change that. But of course, if I think back and I had a time machine, I could go back. There was a time when I was out in that situation and I could have walked away from America and I could have moved back home and just done my own thing. But I felt like I didn't have to do that. Why should I do that? Because I probably would have moved away from my own mental health, because I think that's what messed me up a lot was being out there alone. And if I'd had family and friends around me to really lean on, I probably would have been in a lot better mental state. So I probably would have left America when all of that stuff was going on. I didn't, and I made the choice, and that was my choice. And like I said, I live with that decision. It was no one else's decision but mine. And yeah, for me, that would be the only thing. Apart from that, I don't want to say I'm glad it happened, because I'm not, but it has definitely, I've learned so much more about who I am and my values and my beliefs and what actually is important to me. And I learned so much from that time that I am definitely in a lot better place than I was before. So it's sort of like you take the good and the bad. I wish it didn't happen, but it also sometimes the bad has to happen for something even better to happen than if the bad thing didn't even happen in the first place. So yeah, that would be the only thing really.
Yeah. And so thinking back to that, the only change that you'd potentially have made was to get away from that environment.
Yeah. And take more control of my own narrative. Because I didn't say anything, because I didn't feel the need to justify myself to anyone.
Yeah.
Why should I? Why should I? And maybe I should have. Maybe I should have taken a little bit more control.
Yeah. But it was a choice at the time. You were deciding not to. It wasn't just a lack of thought. You'd gone, I've thought about this and I don't need to speak up. I'm not in this. It's not my thing.
Yeah.
So it was a decision at the time. But going back to sort of getting yourself out of that environment, did you know at the time that that's what you should be doing? Or is that something that's just become clear?
Yeah.
Now that you've got out of it, you're like, okay, that would have helped had I done that back then.
For sure. That's exactly it. At the time I was like, nah. I was training with the best sprinters in the world. I was training with the Olympic champion. I was training with basically all 8 guys. I was in Florida. I was training with such a good team, and like I said, it wasn't just me. There was so many international athletes in the group, and it felt like literally it was only myself and the other British athletes that were just getting peppered by like our own media, and then every other country's media was just like so supportive of their athletes and so just waited for the facts to come out, and that is not what happened in the UK, and unfortunately, I was training with a couple of Brits at the time, and they decided to leave because they couldn't deal with that. And like I said, I probably should have gone at that time, but it is by the by now. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah, and even these negative experiences, they shape who we are so much.
They massively do. And I'm so happy, and and the fact that I'm home now as well. I really, really enjoy what I do. I'm so lucky to do it. And I know this is not forever. I'm almost certain this will be my last season. Like, we'll see. If I go out there and I do something crazy this season, then maybe not. But I'm very, very content now with where I'm at in my career, and whatever happens now happens, and the future will come, and I'm just gonna roll with it and see how it goes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's being that low is a horrible place to be, but it gives you perspective, and it changes who you are, and it changes the way that you view the world and how you go about things forever after that.
Do you know what the biggest realization for me is when you're in your sport, you're all consumed by it, and you think that everything is the most important thing in the world, and the whole world revolves around it. And then you come out of it a little bit, and you're like, actually, what? No one else cares.
No one cares.
No one cares.
All
of that stuff that you think is so important and so you're stressing out about. Nobody even cares. What are you talking about? Is you're giving yourself unnecessary stress, and that's probably the biggest thing that I learned was that I'm causing so much stress for myself, thinking it's the most important thing in the world, and actually, most of the public, if not most people, don't care. Don't even know what's going on.
Yeah.
So but when you're in the sport, it becomes so consuming. It's the most important thing, and you think it's life or death, and every decision you make is like. So it's a funny mindset athletes have. Honestly, it's like. 0 to 100.
Yeah.
There's no in between.
Yeah, you're focusing on sprinting all day, every day, and everyone else in the country sometimes watches the Olympics or the World Championship. That's kind of what it's like. And they'll sit down and they'll watch it, but it'll be for that 2 weeks, and then they'll forget about it for the next 4 years.
Look, the Olympics has just gone in Paris, and it was a brilliant Olympics.
Yeah, it was,
but there's no more hype. There's no hype for over any of it now.
I've not had a conversation about it for weeks now.
Yeah. It's like, what now? That's it. It's done. It's done, and people don't care. And next thing, and that's the world we live in.
Yeah, but as soon as Paris is done, everyone who's training at the moment, all they're thinking about is LA. So the Olympics is a 4-year thing for them.
Facts.
Yeah.
Facts.
Last question for you is, to any athletes that are listening to this now, whether it be in athletics or a different sport, what piece of advice would you give to athletes that are currently in their career?
I think enjoy the journey is probably the most important thing, because once it's gone, and you don't realise how quickly your career does go. Yesterday, I was 18 years old, lining up at the Olympic Games in London. Today, I'm 31 years old. Coming to the back end, my career has just been such a blur. It's been so quick. Enjoy the moment. Enjoy the small wins. Always have patience and belief in yourself. Just don't compare yourself to other people. And like I said, just be a good person. You're always going to be inspiring. It doesn't matter if you're new to the sport, if you're an old person in the sport, you've always got someone watching what you're doing. Be a role model, be a leader, and inspire that next generation. And like I said, that the journey goes so quick. So take it all in, because once it's done, it's done. I'm sure how many retired athletes would love to go back in their career and start again, or go back to those feelings. And yourself, like you're in shape and you're training and it's a good feeling. It just consumes you. But also there is life after sport as well. So start making plans, because it sneaks up on you quicker than you think. And if you don't have anything in place, a lot of athletes still feel very lost. Get your qualification, get your coaching qualification, get a personal training qualification, get whatever you want, but use that experience and use your knowledge to help you in your future. And like I said, enjoy the ride, enjoy it.
I think a couple of really important things there. Enjoying the ride, it's so difficult to do when you're there.
Yeah.
So easy for older athletes to go to younger athletes. Make sure you enjoy it. But
people used to say the same thing to me when I was 18. I was like, oh, whatever, man. Yeah, I will. And then you actually think, oh, what good advice.
Yeah. Did you take it?
No.
Yeah. Because it's really genuinely difficult to do.
It is.
I think I always put it in the sense of when you're 80 and you're sat in a chair and someone says, I'm going to give you the opportunity to go back and live 1 year of your life again.
Yeah.
It'll be somewhere around here, won't it?
100%.
It'll be somewhere in this area.
100%. That's exactly what it would be. That's exactly, because these are the best moments of your life. This is the sport when you're young and fit enough to be able to do it. And then I'm now ready for the venture after sport now. I'm ready for maybe meeting someone and having a family and that next part. That's what I'm excited for now. And like I said, I'm so happy of what I've done in my sporting career, and I'm going to finish and enjoy it as much as I can. And then cool, GG, thanks for coming. See you at the 10-year anniversary.
Yeah.
See you at the 10-year reunion. But
it'll be here before you know it.
Yeah, exactly. honestly, with a few more kilos on this belly and this chin, you'll see me rolling into the hall. But yeah, like I said, it's as a young athlete, you just don't listen to it. You listen to it, but you just don't take it on board. It's not until you get older, and it happens to everyone, like you said.
Yeah.
But that's part of the journey and why it's so fun. So.
And taking those little wins as well, so important. Because I think if I look back at my career, and I think a lot of athletes, if they look back at their career and they're asked, what were the high points? I think that list that they'd come back with is far shorter than it should be.
Yes, I agree. Because
you don't take those little wins, because like we said, you're always looking for the next thing. And if you're not winning an Olympic gold medal, then was there any point in doing that last? That's kind of always the metric that's measured.
You're right about, give me the high points. I guarantee you people always go back to competition, but actually it's a whole journey.
Yeah.
Like we were talking about, the competition is such a small part of what we do. The journey is the whole training, the whole cycle. And there's so many high points that I look back on in my career and I think, wow, what opportunities I had in my life to travel the world, to meet the best athletes in the world, to get myself in the best physical condition I can, to be at the best of my game in something. And for me, they're highlights that I look back on, and I'll think when I'm older, like, wow, there was a time when I was able to run like that.
Yeah.
So it's it's, take the wins, take the little wins.
Being an athlete is such a lucky position to be in. It's so easy
So blessed
to not realise how much it enriches yourself as a person and your life, how many people you meet, how many cultures you experience, how many places you go to. And that broadens who you are as a person so much.
Exactly.
This is a relatively new segment. This is my selfish question where I get to just ask you whatever I want to know. So my selfish question is, and you said you're a neek at the beginning. So
I am.
If you could race against any sprinters in history, which sprinters are you lining up against in your dream Olympic final?
Wow, that honestly is a really great question.
I'm looking forward to the answer.
I've never actually been asked that question. So it depends if you want to go against, in an Olympic final, do I put sprinters that I know I can definitely beat, or do I put the best field possible? And
I know what you're going to do already.
I think most people. To be fair, for me, I want to be in and amongst the best sprinters in the world, and I want to be in that thing. So for me, I'd put Usain would be in there, Johan would be in there, Tyson would be in there, Asafa would be in there. I'd put Carl Lewis in there.
Yep.
I'd put, if I can get Jesse Owens in, that would be a cool one to have. I'd put Linford Christie in there.
Okay.
I'd love to run against Linford. He's just a legend of what he is.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think who else. Like,
I've got one wrong at the moment of my guess of what you'd say.
All right.
And that's Linford.
Linford. Okay. Yeah. Linford might not have always been in there, but over the more recent years, and especially as I've got a lot older, you appreciate actually what Linford did and what he did for
he was older, wasn't he, when he was successful?
30, 31 when he won the Olympics. I think he was about my age now, to be honest.
That's crazy.
Yeah, but and then I'm trying to think who else.
I think you filled it.
Have I? Oh, there we go then.
I think you've done 7.
Bang, there we go. Perfect. There we go. Who's the one that you thought?
I didn't. I reeled off some names.
Go on.
And it was all the names you've just said, apart from Linford Christie.
Apart from Linford.
Because I just tried to think, who's the best? Who's
the best?
Who's the most iconic from history?
Exactly. Maybe Maurice Green. Could have had a little Maurice Green in there. He was a little beast. Or Donovan Bailey as well, like an absolute legend of the game. But no, I think with those guys, you're going to be very hard to get in the mix. But what a final to be in. It's like the 2012 final, to be honest with you. I look back at that and I wish I was in that, because what a historic final it was, man. Every single person ran sub 10. It was one of the best, most awesome 100-meter races in history. And as a fan of athletics, watching something like that was just brilliant. That's why I loved the summer this year, the 100 meters at the Olympics this year. You just didn't know who was going to win.
Yeah, that was quite interesting.
As a fan of sport, like even if you're not in it, you take yourself away from that. You're like, gee, this is exciting now.
Yeah.
So so going back to the question, that they would probably be mine. Yeah.
I'd watch it.
Same. I'd be watching it from the race. I'd be watching them all go.
Adam, thank you so much for sharing your journey, for giving your advice. It's been really useful. I'm sure a lot of people are going to get a lot from it. And like I said earlier, thank you for being an athlete that makes sport enjoyable to watch. You've been an incredible servant to Great Britain in athletics and in sport in general.
Thank you. It means a lot for you to say that. I thank you so much. It's massively appreciated. So cheers, bud.
Thanks so much for sitting down with us, mate. And that is all we have for you this week. Amazing to hear from one of Great Britain's best ever sprinters, and a lot of great lessons to learn from his journey. Huge thanks to Adam for coming on and sharing his story, and a huge thanks to you guys for listening. If you haven't already, please don't forget to follow and subscribe. It makes such a difference and really helps the podcast. Join us next time when we sit with another elite athlete to hear about what really goes on in the world of sport. Until then, stay strong and look after yourselves.